All right, this is a wild ride, so you might want to buckle up. It's been about 2 years since I finally got out of that apartment, and honestly, it's taken me most of that time to even find the words for what happened. When people talk about bad breakups, they usually mean hurt feelings, divided friend groups, or arguing over who gets the couch. They don't usually mean a calculated, systematic betrayal by the person you trusted most in the world, leaving you trapped in a house with a monster. To understand the absolute gravity of what my best friend did to me, you have to understand what I was trying to escape: the prison. My ex was a nightmare. For 2 years, I was trapped in a cycle of mental and verbal abuse. He treated me less like a partner and more like a live in maid and a mother, demanding everything and giving nothing but cruelty in return. He forced himself on me multiple times, completely shattering any sense of bodily autonomy I had left. And the worst part? Every single time I tried to muster up the courage to pack my bags and walk out the door, he would weaponize his own life. He'd look me dead in the eye and threaten suicide. "If you leave me, I'll kill myself, and it'll be your fault." That is a heavy, suffocating chain to carry. It paralyzes you. So I realized early on that a normal breakup wasn't an option. I couldn't just say, "This isn't working." I had to play chess. I had to orchestrate a situation where I did something, anything, to make him want to break up with me. That way, it was his choice. He couldn't threaten his life to keep me there if he was the one shoving me out the door. It was a desperate survivalist plan, but it was the only card I had left to play. And through all of this, I thought I had a lifeline. I thought I had a sister, the sister I built up. I met her at work, and for 3 years, we were attached at the hip. She had given birth to her daughter when she was still a teenager, and the baby's father was a lazy, abusive piece of crap who left her with absolutely nothing. Because I loved her, and because I have a heart, I stepped up. I brought her and her baby into my home. They stayed with me for 3 months, completely rent-free. I took her out to eat, bought clothes and essentials for her and her little girl, and spent countless weekends babysitting for free so she could breathe. When she finally found a place of her own, I helped her get approved for the apartment. When the stress of being a single mom got to be too much and her place fell into chaos, I went over there and cleaned it for her. I even slipped her cash out of my own pocket just so she could buy something nice for herself, knowing every penny she made went strictly to survival. I didn't just consider her a best friend. I treated her like family. I thought we were bound by the shared understanding of what it felt like to be pushed down by terrible men. I was so wrong. The escape plan ruined. The plan to leave my ex was supposed to be simple. The lease on our apartment was coming to an end. I had it all mapped out. I was going to wait until the exact day the lease expired. My things would already be packed up under the guise of moving anyway. My parents were scheduled to drive down with a truck, pull up to the complex, and grab everything. A few hours before their arrival, I was going to confess to the thing I had done to make him hate me. He would get mad. He would dump me. And before the dust could even settle, my parents would be there to scoop me up and take me away. No time for suicide threats. No time for retaliation. Clean, safe, and done. But it never happened. Because my best friend had the screenshots. She knew the whole plan. I had trusted her with every detail. And instead of holding my hand through the finish line, she forwarded those screenshots directly to my ex. She didn't even have the decency to let me execute my safety net. I was confronted by him a full week before I was supposed to leave. Yes, the plan technically worked in one way. He broke up with me on the spot. But the safety net was completely gone. My parents weren't outside. The lease wasn't up. I was entirely stuck. For 7 agonizing days, I was trapped in that apartment with a man who felt entirely justified in his rage. I was screamed at until my ears rang. I was subjected to endless graphic threats of suicide. I had to watch things happen in that apartment that still give me flashbacks, entirely vulnerable, with nowhere to run until my parents' arrival date finally came. And do you know what the sickest part is? Even after she did that, I tried to forgive her. I sat there in my misery, trying to rationalize her betrayal. I knew she had become casual friends with my ex through me, so I forced myself to think, maybe she was just caught in the middle. Maybe she thought she was doing the right thing by being honest with him. I was willing to swallow my own trauma just to keep the delusion of our friendship alive. The ultimate betrayal. Right in the middle of that hellish final week, karma seemed to strike her. Or so I thought. Her abusive baby daddy escalated, threatening her life, and she had to flee her home. Despite the fact that my life was actively imploding because of her, I chose grace. I let go of my anger. I told her she could come stay at the apartment with us. My ex, for all his horrific behavior toward me, never put on that face for outsiders, so I knew she would be physically safe from him. I thought I was being a good Christian, a good friend, a savior. Then I went to work. And while I was off earning a paycheck, a mutual contact let the truth slip. While I was away, my best friend and my ex had hooked up. They kissed, and it was heavily implied they did a whole lot more. When the news hit me, I wasn't just angry. I was entirely, fundamentally livid. The room literally spun. It all clicked into place with a sickening clarity. She didn't snitch on me to be a good friend to him. She didn't do it out of some twisted sense of morality. She did it because she wanted him. She destroyed my safety plan, knowing damn well how dangerous and abusive he was, entirely so she could clear the runway. She left me trapped in a house where he could still force himself on me and guilt-trip me, all so she could slide into my place and screw him. She wanted to be the comforting shoulder he leaned on when the breakup happened. She engineered my torture for a piece of trash man. The aftermath. The petty demon inside me took total control. I didn't confront her with tears. I confronted her with action. I kicked her out of the apartment instantly. Before she could gather her things, I took every single piece of clothing she left behind and smeared them in my cat's litter box. I systematically smashed her makeup palettes into dust. Everything else she owned, I threw directly into the dumpster. I blocked her on every piece of technology and social media in existence. The very last time I ever saw her, she was a ghost. She stood there in total silence, completely refusing to make eye contact with me. She didn't say a single word. No, I'm sorry. No explanation. There wasn't even a flicker of remorse or guilt in her eyes. Just a cold, blank void. That silence is what actually broke my heart. I had poured 3 years of love, money, shelter, and sisterhood into this person. I had protected her child. And to her, I was just an obstacle in the way of a toxic guy. I look back at pictures of us from when we first met, and I don't even recognize the girl standing next to me anymore. Was any of our friendship real? Did she ever actually care about me? Or was I just a stepping stone? I guess I'll never know. But 2 years later, I'm free, I'm safe, and I know exactly who is allowed in my circle. And as for her, she can keep the trash she fought so hard to steal.